Now we're moving on to retouching teeth. And this is another very, very important area. If I've got a shot where someone's smiling, I'll generally make sure that their teeth are what they're supposed to be. And if not, we'll go and make them look at least as good as they could be. So let's zoom in a little bit here. And this, you can see the situation here. We have some yellowing. We've got some brightness issues, and we've got some other little anomalies in the teeth here that we can fix up, and some shaping problems as well. We can cover all four pretty easily. Let's go ahead and start with removing the color, the yellowing first, and brightening the teeth. So there's a number of different ways to do it. The thing that I recommend is actually to use a tool that doesn't get a lot of love. It's the magnetic lasso tool. It works actually pretty well for stuff like this. And let me zoom in so you can really get in there tight. Just pick a starting point, and just it kind of detects the edge and kind of zooms along it. Sometimes in a dark area like this, it doesn't know where to select, so I just click and kind of say, well, you're supposed to click there. And so as I move around, sometimes if it doesn't exactly select the perfect area, I help it along just by clicking once. So it kind of sees this all pretty well. It's going good. It kind of magnetically snaps to the edge of where it thinks the edge of your thing you're trying to select is. It usually does pretty well, but every once in a while you just have to lay down an extra point. See how it kind of wanted to go up there? So I just click once to lay down a little point, those little points you see. And you're going to kind of come around here. It's not going to know where because it's just kind of a big gap there. See how it wants to turn a little bit early? I want it to go all the way up there. And so you can kind of help it along. But just adding that to the mix really makes a big difference with this tool. And there we'll go up all the way up top, and then it turns pretty good. So it's doing pretty good, but when it gets in this area where it's not really clearly defined, you're gonna have to help it by just kind of telling this is the path you want to follow. Well, it'll do. If you make a mistake like I just did, just hit the delete key. I wanted to get these teeth back here as well, and then back around. When you get back to where you started, you see the little circle that says you've come full circle, and there you go. Now, we're going to put a very, very small amount of feather on this, just a little bit so we don't get a hard edge. How about maybe 1 pixel? Now, I'm going to hide this selection. So the teeth will still be selected, but we're not going to have to see the little marching ants around it. You do that by going under the View menu and just choosing Extras to turn off extras. Or you can think of Command H for hide, or on PC Control H, and now it's hidden. So the teeth are still selected, you just can't see it. So let's go under the Image menu, under Adjustments, we'll choose Hue and Saturation. And we're going to start by going to the yellows. So we just choose the yellows from the pop-up menu, and you're going to lower the amount of yellow in his teeth, which, as you can see, basically removes the yellowing. Don't go too far, they'll turn gray. See how the teeth turned gray? There is a point at which it goes from white. So here's yellow, white's going to be somewhere in here, and if you go too far, they're actually going to turn gray. So you want to leave a little bit of the color in there, maybe something like that. But now, to brighten the teeth, you're going to switch back to the master channel up here in the Hue and Saturation. Then you're going to go to the lightness and just drag a little bit to the right like that. Just go a little bit with this. It's easy to get carried away. It'll start to look like it's glowing. So you just want to go, let's go back to 0 and just pump it up a little bit, like maybe like that. Then we'll click OK, and let's see what we have versus what we had. So we started here, and now we're here. So you can see it's quite a big difference from here to there. Huge, huge, mega, ultra difference. Okay. So let's take it a step further. Now let's go in and let's do a little shaping of the teeth. Now the tool that I use for this, oh, by the way, don't forget, your teeth are still selected. See, they're still selected, so don't forget to press Command D on Mac or Control D on PC to deselect. Let's do a little teeth shaping. There's a little, these are a little bit misshapen there and things. Let's go ahead and fix that just a little bit. Go to the Filter menu and choose Liquify. It's going to bring up the Liquify dialog box. And once we do that, we'll zoom back in. We're going to go way in, like 200%. It's going to be a little pixelated because, well, 200% generally is. There we go. And let's make a smaller brush, and Shift left bracket will make that brush small quick. And we're going to use the very top tool over here in the bar, and we're just literally going to push. I went a little too small there. We're going to push the edges of this tooth. Just going to push it up a little bit, just like that. That's all you got to do. Just slightly push it. Over here, a slight little push, and that's all it's going to need is a tiny little push. Now I might have got my brush a little too big. I just want to get just that little area right there. So make a brush about the size of what you want to push. There we go. So now we've kind of evened that out. The rest of it looks pretty good. If you need to pull something down, like to fill that gap, you can just kind of push this over a little bit if you want. I'm just literally pushing the tooth over. But it's really not bad. This one has got a little bit of a gap too. You can just push it over like that and push this one a little bit more just to fill in those gaps a little bit. So that looks pretty good. Let's take a look. Let's hit OK and you'll see a before and after. So let's click OK. And look right in this area. Here's after and there's before. Before and after. You can see, look at the gap here. I'm going to go up to 200%. Look at the gaps filling in and just fixing it out nicely. All right, there still is an issue right in here with looks like some perhaps some food bits. So there's no great trick I can give you for getting rid of those. It's a cloning deal. So let's go and reset our tool. Let's use a really small brush. And you see this little gray line here between the teeth. You're going to have to kind of pick it up and continue it up. Just kind of go right up that line to try to go right over the food. Because there's not much else you can do, right? You can't reach in there with a toothpick. Over here, kind of the same thing. There's a little bit of, just get rid of that. And it kind of just takes that line straight upward. And that's not wonderful, but it's certainly better than what we had, which was food. All right, so I think we did pretty good there. I think the teeth look pretty nice. She's got some little bit yellowing too. I don't really see any other issues there, and you would use the same technique, so I'm not going to make you sit through that twice. But that's what you do. You select the teeth, you remove the yellowing, you brighten them up a little bit, look for any shaping problems or food problems or any other problems, and you're set. Easy enough.